for anyone who deployed to Afghanistan. Between 2001 and 2021, the memories are impossible to forget. Blast walls towering over bases, the constant threat of rocket attacks, the tense silence before a patrol, and yes, even the long queues in the canteen. Every serviceman, woman, and civilian who served there carries their own vivid picture of that time. For many, it all began with the flight in, landing at Kandahar, Kabul, or Camp Bastion. Sometimes it was a slow descent in near-total darkness aboard an RAF jet. Other times, a violent corkscrew dive in a C-130 transport plane. In both cases, the reason was the same: to avoid being targeted by Taliban, surface-to-air missiles. Over the course of 2 decades, thousands of troops and civilians from dozens of countries deployed to Afghanistan, answering the United States' call for help after the devastating attacks of September 11, 2001. That call came through NATO's Article 5, the only time in the alliance's history it has ever been invoked, declaring that an attack on one member was an attack on all. America was reeling. After nearly 3,000 people were murdered when Al-Qaeda terrorists flew hijacked airliners into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. Al-Qaeda was being sheltered by the Taliban, and Afghanistan quickly became the focus of a global military response. The Taliban were swiftly driven from power through a joint effort, involving the U.S. military, the CIA, and Afghanistan's Northern Alliance. British Royal Marines and UK Special Forces soon found themselves hunting Al-Qaeda, fighters across harsh mountain terrain. But many of the group's leaders and fighters escaped across the border into Pakistan, where they regrouped. It would take nearly 10 years before Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, was finally located and killed by U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6 in Abbottabad. Pakistan, everything changed after 2006, when British forces deployed in large numbers to Helmand province, an area that had previously been relatively calm. The Taliban made their intentions clear. If foreign troops came, they would fight. British paratroopers soon found themselves under relentless attack, calling in mortar and artillery, fire danger close, to their own positions just to prevent bases from being overrun. The intensity of the fighting shocked many back home. Between 2006 and the end of combat operations in 2014, it wasn't only American forces who bore the cost. British, Canadian, Danish, Estonian, and many other NATO troops faced brutal fighting in provinces like Helmand and Kandahar, and it would be impossible and wrong to ignore the courage and sacrifice of Afghan soldiers and civilians who fought and died over those 20 years. Afghanistan was a conflict defined not just by strategy and politics,